Hello and welcome back to another episode of Rebooking to Mastery, presented by me, Juggin, who's a 22-year-old master's student just trying to spread some knowledge out to the rest of the world. The current book I am studying or analyzing is Stillness is the Key, a book by Ryan Holiday, but based on the aspects of Stoicism. So, we are currently in the first part of this book, which is the mind. And so, going about the mind, one thing we should understand is the question, is this necessary? It's kind of related to the last part, which is about limiting your inputs, but this one is a little more in depth. So, in terms of the question, is this necessary? Consider your outputs and consider your inputs. We want good outputs in whatever we do. We want the push out that we present to the rest of the world to be good. But how can we expect or wish for good outputs when all the inputs that we have are severely flawed? How can we plot our future properly and figure out what we want to do in the future when our present is flawed in of itself? What we do in the present is flawed in of itself. And so to find out what truly is necessary, you have to study the world a little more philosophically. You have to study it with a little bit more of a long-term perspective. You have to ask yourself, what would happen if I really didn't listen to the news? What would happen if I really didn't respond or have my phone next to me 24/7? You didn't listen to the news? Nothing happened. You didn't have your phone next to you the whole time? Nothing happened. And what you realize then is that you're not really wanting to stay in touch with reality. You're just afraid of the silence that fills the gaps. One other justification we provide ourselves is that we are afraid of being stupid. We're afraid of someone who is rather becoming someone who is just disconnected to reality, someone who doesn't know that such and such happened on Twitter or like all of these current events in various parts of the world. Like we don't want to feel dumb, and we want to feel connected. We want to feel like we know what's happening and we're very knowledgeable. That's human nature. But what if we weren't? One thing is, if you really want to improve, try to be happy with being clueless or stupid in extraneous matters. Oh, the new celebrity and their new dating life? I didn't know about that? Okay. It's going to be another fad and it's going to fade away in a few minutes, is it not? In a few days, even. And we're also afraid of being the bad person. We're afraid of being the person that says not interested. Because the word no is something that is very hard for a lot of us to say. We're afraid of being left out, fear of missing out, and we're afraid of turning down something that we may know may be bad for us, but we choose to accept anyway for the sake of accepting it because we cannot force ourselves to say no. We'd rather make ourselves miserable. We'd rather make ourselves feel bad instead of making ourselves a priority. We would rather put everyone else on top of our own priorities. We would rather do that than become our best selves. And so it's not for you to be like, no, I must take no inputs whatsoever into my mind. It's not really an ask for you to turn off all inputs, but rather turn off the ones that you know are just temporary and will disappear sooner or later. And this goes into emptying the mind. So remember, man's greatest works are done when he is not calculating or thinking. You don't have aha moments when your mind is thinking random thoughts. You have it when you force your mind to be still and you just are so intensely focused, you're just thinking. If you're cut free of the impressions that cling to the mind and rejoice in this kind of stillness instead of thinking about the past, thinking about the future, thinking about so many things, just thinking at all, and you just rejoice in perfect stillness, you have a paradoxical void. And that paradoxical void is not only where stillness is, but that's where true greatness happens. Because whatever you do first should not be against your true interest. You should not defeat yourself before. You will have to defeat the part of you that wishes for these quick shots of dopamine. But you should not prioritize others before yourself. And you must control what goes inside your brain and what happens in there. And you have to keep your own thoughts regulated because thoughts become words, words become actions, and actions become your life. Thank you so much for tuning in, and see you guys next time for the continuation of Stillness is the Key. If you'd like to follow me on all platforms, I'm on TikTok and Instagram at ReBooking to Mastery. And please feel free to drop me a follow on whichever platform you're listening to. And if you'd like to hear more content, leave me any comments below, and I'd love to hear some feedback. Thank you.